We've been growing our blackberries in this spot for about 10 years now, and today we need to kind of tie them all up, give them a bit of a prune out as well. And I thought what I'd do is share with you how we do that each year. And I also thought I'd just tell you a little bit more about this variety of blackberries that we grow here, because I know a lot of people get stressed about blackberries, especially in nice bushy places like this where, you know, in Australia you don't want them to get out into the bush and become weedy. But the particular variety that we grow here is one that is not one that goes weedy. So let me tell you a little bit more about that too. G'day, it's Rachel here from Bush Edge Homesteading Australia with my youngest today.
Hello.
And we're going to be doing some pruning of our blackberries. Now this area here we've grown for about 10 years and it is incredibly productive. But what tends to happen in the winter is that we need to do a bit of a prune on these. The reason for that is what happens is you get these canes like this one here, where you can see they fruited last year and they're not going to fruit again. So basically what they do is they die off with this particular variety of blackberries, and we're actually going to have to cut all of those canes out. That's going to leave all these new growth ones like this one here that grew in the summer season, and I don't know if you can see on here, but there's no evidence of any production of fruit on these ones here. These are the ones that are going to produce the fruit for us in this next year. So basically in the second year, that's when this variety produces the fruit. So these ones here, I need to get off the ground and I need to tie them up. Basically what we do is we tie them each year onto these wires, and that will get them off the ground, which will do a couple of good things. It means that, you know, they're not going to start striking and rooting into the ground and producing new plants, because we don't want this to get any denser than it already is. And yeah, the other thing is it just gets it all off the ground and tied up so that when it does start producing fruit at a later time, that fruit's not all going to be laying on the ground. If it lays on the ground, it gets rotten and yucky, and yeah, we want it to be nice and lifted. And the other thing is it just looks an awful lot better when it's all tied up as well. So you're going to help me today with doing the pruning, aren't you, buddy?
Yep, I got the tools. Snip, snip.
You are ready to go? All right, well, I reckon we should get stuck in. Lots that are laying on the ground, and what I like to do with these is when we lift them up, we will tie some of these, but we also twist them. The wires and the plants just kind of hold themselves up, and sometimes what we actually do is weave some of them through as well, so that one on a lower wire will actually hold up one that goes on a higher wire. It is a little bit tricky because we haven't cut all of this kiwi fruit back yet. That's still a job that we're working on. We're doing a really big hard prune this year. If that was gone already, this would be an awful lot easier. So for now, I might even just twist this one on this lower one. That's a lot better. This one here we could tack to the top. Now we're competing a little bit now with the mulcher, but do you want to show us where you cut it down when you cut them?
it's against the wood, but you want to cut it down as far as you can.
Like right down the bottom?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
There's ASAP as soon as possible, but it's ACAP as close as possible.
As close as possible. You creating new acronyms?
Yes.
Awesome. Another one for the mulching pile. Can I leave you here to keep doing this for a minute? Because I need to go and find our tie wire.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'll be back in a sec. Now, I'm going to try something a little bit different to tie them this year. And that's this flexible wire that I found the other day just in our local kind of cheap shop, $2 shop sort of style shop up here in the hills. And in the past, what I've used is pretty much like the garden tie sort of stuff. Let me see if I can find, here we go. The stuff that we use, so this sort of stuff. You can see we've got a couple hanging here. The pain with that is each time you end up kind of having to cut it, or you know, you're breaking off the pieces of the vine, and sometimes you can kind of retie with it, but it does break down. My hope is this here will be easier to kind of reuse year on year. It was pretty cheap, so why not give it a shot? Go.
The ultimate poker. So someone could be standing there and you can just go poke, 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 poke.
It almost looks like you're fishing.
Yep, got to cast the rod in.
Woo!
Oh, I caught something.
You have caught something.
Snap.
Uh-oh, you snapped the rod.
No.
Now the first step is trying to find the end on this thing. Is that it? Aha! Success, I think. Or is that the end? No, that was it. Something cool?
Yeah.
Look at this one here. See how it's grown all flat?
Yeah. Ooh.
It is. That is something that we don't see too often, but it can happen with plants. Fasciation, probably pronouncing it wrong, something like that, but it's just an unusual way that sometimes plants grow. Yeah. It is a bit unique.
Side. Look,
yeah.
It's like really thin. It's like a potato chip.
You reckon? Well, that is something that we don't want to keep though, okay? So can I get you to prune that one out as well?
How come we don't want to keep it?
So being that that's not the normal growth that we want, and we're not likely to get fruit on that, do you want to chop that out?
Yep.
Cool. Or at least I don't think we'd get fruit on that. Anyway, do you want to chop it out? Oh, careful. Nice clean cut. Good job. Sometimes it is getting pretty dense, so what we're needing to do is actually take out a few of the green stems as well, and that just thins it out so it gets better airflow. And if you follow along with us, what I'll do is I'll share our harvest later on in the season after we've done this, and what you'll see is even though we thin it out a bit, we will still get a bumper crop off of this. Yeah, she's pretty thick in here. While we've got the mulch off for a quick second, and you can probably hear me okay, I just wanted to share a little bit about the variety of blackberries that we grow here. So these ones here are called a Waldo blackberry, and it's a thornless variety. It's what they call a more non-vigorous variety, but in saying that, it does grow really, really well. The difference with these ones though is that they don't go weedy. They do send shoots out still around the original plant. So we kind of started off originally with like one cane next to each of these posts here. And as you can see, there's quite a few canes around, but they really don't spread out. They don't get into the grass area or anything like that around. And the other cool thing about this variety is that with the seeds from the blackberries themselves, they are not particularly vigorous either. So we've never had any issues with any of these blackberries getting out anywhere on this property. We definitely get issues with the traditional blackberries, and yeah, we've done a lot of work on the property to get rid of those over the years. Every so often we still get some coming in, particularly with the birds, but they are quite different to the thornless variety that we have here. And I guess the other cool thing about them being a thornless variety is that when we're doing the picking, we're not getting jagged all the time by thorns on blackberry plants either. And they are super duper prolific. Like just off this one small area here, I will often get enough to do all of our fresh eating, all the baking, we freeze them, and often I'll even do like a blackberry wine as well. And this is really not a big area. And the other cool thing is they're also super low maintenance. I very, very rarely need to water these. When we originally put them in, we did. I guess the other thing we did when we originally put in this area was we put in kind of this trellisy system, which is pretty basic. It's just a whole bunch of posts. These were actually old posts that came off our deck when we did some repair work many years ago, and they've been a really good reuse ever since. And then just the wires kind of running in between so that we can weave the canes and attach the canes to them as well. I just pulled this one out of the ground, and this shows really well how easily they do kind of strike and shoot. So if you do have this type of plant and you want to gift it to others or you want to spread them around, it is a really simple thing. Just, you know, sometimes you just leave the canes lying on the ground and they'll just shoot like this, and then we just kind of chop it off here, and there's another plant. Now, we don't need any more plants today, and my swap group's not meeting much anymore, so yeah, there's probably no point in keeping that one today, so we'll just pop that through the mulcher as well. With things a lot more thinned out now, we can finally get underneath and start getting rid of a few of these weeds as well. You want to help, Coops? That's no fun, is it? It's not the ball. Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Now those blackberries are done, it's time to start the raspberries. There's a little bit of quiet at the moment, so I thought I'd come back up here and show you the finished product in this area, because we are all done now, aren't we?
Yep.
So basically this is what it looks like, all complete. And essentially what we've done is we've really thinned it out where we can. We've just kind of relied on the vines themselves. You can see how we've kind of twisted them around the wires, and that holds on a lot of the plants. And in the spots where it was kind of pulling away a little bit from the wires, that's where we've used some of this tie wire. And we've realistically only needed to tie wire it on in a couple of spots because the vines do hold really well to the wires. So I think we ended up with only two. Thought we had a third one as well, spot where we'd tied it. But yeah, so that essentially is our finished product. And I look forward to being able to come back and show you what this looks like as the seasons start to change. We'll show you when it starts bushing and filling out, and it does look really cool at that stage too. And also, of course, when we get to berry picking time, because that's one of the most exciting times of the year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, hopefully you enjoyed following along with us as we pruned our blackberries for this year. And as always, thanks a bunch for joining.
And catch you later.
Sorry,
I was a little early, but anyways, doesn't matter. Enjoy.
Catch you later, guys.